Okay, I started playing, got both these little screens working with the OpenMv cam. This one here is a little 1.77 inch screen with a resolution of 160 by 128. They do also come in a 128 by 128 as well. And this one here is slightly larger. This is a 2.4 inch and its resolution is also higher with 320 by 240. And they're the two that I got working. I made up one small little PCB to mount this one on, to plug it on the camera. This one here, I just had another screen around that I didn't make up. I've just simply put a whole heap of wires off the back of it. I think both of them could be mounted quite easily. On the back side, if I put the camera lens on there, you could think about something like this, could be mounted on the center there, just like that. It would just involve having a couple of SMD headers on the back instead of the pins on the side, how I've got it at the moment. Same with this one here. This one here is a little bit bigger. He mounts just there. There's also a lot of these screens here come out with a touch chip as well, so you could actually make it a touch controller and stuff like that. But that one's obviously reasonably on the big side for that little camera, because that one there obviously fits much nicer. You could mount him just there in the center of the camera like that, and you could see the frame buffer of the camera, what's going on all the time when your robot was driving around doing different stuff. Right, so what I'll do now is I'll hook both these up and give a little demo of it, and I'll also link down the bottom the link to the drivers to drive them all the code that's needed. Okay, I've turned the exposure right down on my filming camera to hopefully get a good shot of this screen, because I'm trying to film a bright screen. These cameras don't tend to do it so well. So what you'll find is that little screen at the back is streaming exactly the same as what's coming out in your IDE and your frame buffer. Alright, so if you're running your camera off batteries on a robot and you wanted to see what was going on, you don't actually need it connected via USB to your computer to see what's going on. You can stream it to the back there. And that's the complete code in order to make that to go. And most of those are comments. That's very little there. You just got to like more or less use my write to screen function there. Alright, so that one's there. Like I said, the little camera there is probably about my favourite because he's so small, makes him so fast, right? So at the moment I'm streaming to the IDE and the little screen, yet I still tend to be getting 30 frames a second. Alright, so at 30 frames a second you can stream it twice. If I actually turn off the frame buffer to the computer, pull out this USB stick, it actually streams faster. Okay, here I am with the larger screen. It's a bit messy for me to hold because I just used a screen on a PCB I had instead of making up my own PCB, and I've just sort of used a whole heap of jumper wires. But you can see the same thing. We're getting what we get on the screen here, but now it's in a much higher resolution on a bigger screen. Your main disadvantage, well, there's two disadvantages with the higher resolution on the bigger screen. One, the screen is actually a fair bit bigger. Two, having the higher resolution means it's slower to stream. So streaming at 320 by 240 to both the IDE and the screen has brought my frame rate down to about 12 frames per second. I really believe the smaller screen is probably going to be, in general, the more in-demand screen. It runs much faster and it's physically smaller to be able to fit on the back of the camera. This one here will be fairly big. Obviously this PCB has a fair bit hanging out each side, and I'd more make my PCB exactly the size of the screen to plug down on the back of the OpenMv cam.